Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Amelia Michael. I'm with Granite Construction.
Please.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. I have some slides that I'll share and present to you. Please bear with me as I work Microsoft Teams. Okay. Hopefully members of the board can see content being shared, but as I said, my name is Amelia Michael. I work for Granite Construction Company as an environmental engineer, and I'm here to speak to you today about emergency construction operations and critical infrastructure support. So I graduated from UCSC in 2018, go Slugs. I'm a geologist in training, among other things, and a Northern California native. I would like to discuss how mineral resources really do support our state and make infrastructure possible. Pictured here is a view from above the working pit of our Felton Quarry and Asphalt facility in the Santa Cruz Mountains. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But I wanted to give you all some background about granite construction in case you're not familiar with this. I started with granite just before the COVID-19 pandemic brought the phrase essential work into our vocabulary, and I'm proud to be an essential worker. Granite is a construction and construction materials company that delivers infrastructure solutions across the Americas. We build airports, military bases, and other government facilities. We work on dams, water, and wastewater systems, and we're leading builders in the transportation sector. I hesitate to call us experts on road, bridge, and rail, but we support many of these industries as well as telecommunication services, both by building projects and by providing, among other things, traffic control services. We are part of the clean energy transition. Our focus on power projects has made us one of the largest solar installers in the US, and we regularly invest in alternative fuels and energy efficient equipment at our different facilities. We also offer disaster response services like debris removal and management and disposal facilities, temporary roads, pavement and structure repair, earthworks, excavation and grading, and immediate access to construction personnel and materials. Now, growing up, I heard the phrase dirt made your lunch, but I never heard rocks made your road. As our society scrutinizes our footprint, we see that local aggregate resources are vital to sustainable community development. This working face you see here is our Hanley Ranch facility located in Monterey County. It's one of over 70 aggregate facilities across the country that Granite uses to supply resources to local communities. Responsible consumers these days need to consider not just quality, price, but production methods, waste streams, environmental impact, and emissions reduction strategies that the company is implementing. The construction and materials industry are no strangers to resource conservation, though. After a lifetime of sorting trash by hand, construction materials management has opened my eyes up to recycling at scale. Projects associated with transportation and infrastructure have staggering impacts. Our work disturbs miles at a time, and our projects measure their waste in tons. Our losses and wins are impactful, so we try to mitigate our actions as required and recommended by institutions like this agency. Now, we all know that California's landscape will be changed, one truckload at a time. CEQA tries to reveal the negative impacts of a proposed action and hold us responsible for mitigating them. Partnership between regulators, communities, and industries is key to make good plans with different viewpoints represented in conversation. Agencies responsible for enforcement of SMARA and similar policy instruments are tasked with serving the public interest and the interests of communities near quarries like this one. Now, as members of this board know, geohazards happen. Earthquakes, landslides, debris flows, floods, and fires are common in our great state. Right now, you're looking at a section of Highway 101 near the Mendocino and Humboldt County line where we mobilized after heavy storms to stabilize and repair a roadway. Now, the tools to manage these hazards we face are simple and effective. From boulders to sandbags, aggregates keep us moving and keep us safe. At Granite, I've heard that proper prior planning prevents poor performance. Unfortunately, as this board today has demonstrated, proper prior planning today takes time and experience and expertise. That is why public agency projects with the potential to affect the environment might be excused from CEQA review if work is necessary to prevent or mitigate an emergency. Consulting everyone may delay critical work, and emergent situations often require quick action to prevent more harm. How we respond in a crisis defines our success and reveals our habits and our training. I feel honored to have been trained by masons, superintendents, project managers, operating engineers, carpenters, administrators, and so many other individuals who are so much more qualified than I am. We solve problems as a team, whether that's on the mine site or by the side of the road at 3 a.m. We produce high quality local aggregate. We recycle when we can and help conserve raw materials. We restore and reclaim sites once land disturbance is complete. We are an essential business, and I'd like to explore some of the ways that Granite adds value and supports critical infrastructure and emergency response. Hopefully, none of the board members have experienced flooding personally. If you had, or if you have and you had advance warning, you might have done like many others and head for high ground or the nearest sandbag station. Across the state, local cities, counties, fire, or public works departments provide residents with sand to help protect private property during storms or floods. Mining operations supplying the sand are proud to assist disadvantaged communities in the floodplains. Now, Granite Construction was founded in 1922 in Watsonville, California, a city near the ocean in the Pajaro River watershed. Pictured here, you see the Pajaro River after some intense storm action caused major flooding. This river drains three mountain ranges and divides Santa Cruz, San Benito, Santa Clara, and Monterey counties. The 1,300 or so square mile area has a long history of feeding people, including indigenous nations like the Awaswas, Amamutsun, Tamian, Chalon, and Rumsen. But today, strawberry, apple, artichokes, and more crops have grown local agriculture into $1 billion industry. Unfortunately, wet winters in those mountains bring water problems in the plains, and the Pajaro River levee system has needed frequent maintenance. Floods threaten life, human life and animal life and safety, damage public infrastructure and private property, river habitat, and disrupt life for many vulnerable people. A 2023 flood cost an estimated $336 million in damaged crops alone. Granite Construction was contracted by the Army Corps of Engineers far back as 1997 to help with such repairs to this levee system. Levees breached in various locations along a 15-mile stretch of the Pajaro River, leaving 300-foot wide gaps that flooded farmers' fields with up to 10 feet of water. Crews mobilized immediately and worked around the clock for several months, first building temporary access roads to work safely, then excavating unsuitable material from the levee, placing riprap, dirt, and other rock. One superintendent has a long memory and spoke of the difficulty in piloting a piece of equipment along a narrow strip of road with floodwaters on either side. Public agencies sought out Granite's help because we were available and prepared to bring our expertise and ability to help the situation. Since then, we have returned multiple times to armor the banks of the Pajaro River, including placing boulders near the wastewater treatment plant. Now, though boulders are a builder's friend, they can cause big problems when not in the right place. Rock falls, debris slides, and mudslides block infrastructure across the state. When critical arteries are shut down, you need to call in the right tool for the job. Granite crews have helped clear roadways as long as there has been a state highway system. And we provide unorthodox debris management solutions. Recently, Granite aided cleanup efforts after heavy rain in the Caldor fire burn area, triggered a large rock slide that closed Highway 50. You can see here a 45 feet wide by 25 feet tall boulder blocked the roadway. Now, Caltrans responded to this rock slide, drilling and blasting into that massive boulder and breaking into smaller pieces. We mobilized equipment to haul off the debris and together with Caltrans, opened the roadway safely despite the snow. Because we have established relationships with public agencies, our crews might be stationed on remote mountain roads to manage traffic or by the side of a bridge with an excavator ready to pluck logs out of the flood path. In critical situations, we add value by mobilizing equipment, personnel, traffic control, and construction materials to provide solutions. Now, for a state with so much tourism, our climate can be unpredictable. We have wet winters and arid summers. As dry conditions make landscapes fragile, we see more fires each year, each season, and more complex burns that are difficult to control. In 2021, the Caldor fire burned an estimated 221,000 acres in the El Dorado National Forest near Highway 50. Caltrans chose Granite Construction to remediate fire damage on the northeastern section of Highway 50, right where it enters the Tahoe Basin. As I said, we responded immediately to clear the gateway to Lake Tahoe, creating a safe passage for fire crews and for travelers. Part of that work included repairs to Caltrans's avalanche cannons. I didn't know those exist, but they're used to prevent avalanches within Highway 50's steeply sloped corridor. We installed permanent erosion control measures around the burn scar, especially on slide-prone slopes. Other restoration work included cleaning drainage ditches, pipe crossings, and drop inlets by removing excess sand, ash, and debris to provide proper runoff after the storm. Pictured here is our crew actually repaving the roadway after other repairs and cleanup were complete. They had a pretty good view that day. Now, unfortunately, we've been called to respond to more than one fire. We helped clean up the Paradise Fire that devastated communities in northeastern California and accepted some cleanup debris material at one of our facilities. Granite was also approached by the Office of Emergency Services to assist with response during and after the 2020 CZU fire in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This fire impacted around 80,000 acres and destroyed almost 1,500 structures, devastating Big Basin State Park, one of the oldest in the state, and surrounding communities. Granite construction crews and the Felton Quarry asphalt facility were there during the emergency and the cleanup. Our construction team helped reopen vital transportation corridors after fire damage blocked access to portions of highways 1, 9, and 236. We made the road safe for emergency crews to reach affected neighborhoods and provide support. We also helped repair drainage systems, installing new headwalls and maintenance holes to help prevent landslides during the heavy winter rains that followed the fire. Here is another shot of our Felton Quarry, including the active mine area and a previously disturbed working face now undergoing concurrent reclamation. If you remember from my first picture, this quarry is in a heavily forested and steep area. The pit face acts as a natural fire break, and the access road through it connects two local artery roads. These aspects made the quarry a perfect staging area during the blaze. We coordinated with public agencies, including Caltrans, state parks, CAL FIRE, Santa Cruz County, PG&E, and other subcontractors, and that coordination was critical. Responders were able to be directed through the quarry safely as they supported evacuation and restoration of critical services. Trees hazardous to traffic were staged nearby and hauled through the quarry over time after the burn, interrupting quarry traffic but shortening distance to the process site and vehicle-related emissions. After the fire, local agencies led cleanup efforts. The County of Santa Cruz followed an EPA-approved cleanup protocol to recover concrete foundations from the damaged buildings. First cleaned on the burn site, this foundation material was then sent to the Felton Quarry to be recycled. We turned about 48,000 tons of disaster debris into base rock. Recycling this material saved space in our local landfill, avoided trucking-related emissions, and safety risks of navigating and sending multiple trucks loaded with material through narrow roads in the mountains. So we avoided those safety risks, but also helped preserve our high-quality reserves for use by the Santa Cruz area for generations to come. These foundations, the material generated from this debris recovery process will be used to as a foundation to develop a logistics facility near Watsonville, near some of that flooding I showed you earlier. Our emergency services keep critical infrastructure open through the worst weather. We help Californians do business, see family, and travel across the state. Now, if you remember the intense storm season that hit us in the winter of 2022 and 2023, we saw emergency conditions across the state. Granite monitors hazardous conditions, supports public utilities by providing traffic control, and sticks around to offer long-term solutions. Now, in one coastal city last year, boulders weren't enough to hold back an ocean. Pictured here is a retaining wall that we're building immediately adjacent to the ocean. We went to work to make these emergency repairs after a portion of road had been washed out during the winter. We keyed in and constructed retaining walls. You can see here we were pouring concrete and setting the forms for some of those retaining walls just above the beach and restoring roadway access. I actually remember an engineering geology class where I stood a little further down that same beach and admired several different methods of coastal armoring. And now, a few years later, my team was fighting king tides to pour concrete for the newest seawall structure. As that project ended, the same client has contracted us to repair an adjacent culvert and roadway. The declaration of emergency has run out, and some additional permissions were needed to work in such a sensitive environment, but we're up to the task and proud to support the community that we live and work in. Now, regardless of the location, would a boulder by any other name smell as sweet? What if you call it riprap or rock slope protection or RSP? I mean, anyone driving Highway 1 can see our taste for decorating the coast with structures that need protection, despite the high erosion rates. When a storm attacks a beachfront, it can redesign an area, especially after months of sustained action. To absorb the force of the crashing waves, large rock is placed as an armoring layer. These boulders are common around our beaches, piers, and jetties, and aggregate material facilities supply both these local products and the expertise needed to place them and protect critical infrastructure. Now, as every geologist in this room knows, water is trouble. From landslides to mudslides to floods to tsunamis to debris flows that down trees and close roads. Storms threaten homes and public safety. Early in the morning on January 19th in 2018, some mud flows hit Montecito, an area affected by the recent Thomas fire scorching the landscape. It was estimated that over 4 minutes, around 3:30 a.m., about a half inch of rain pounded the Santa Barbara area, causing mud, debris, and boulders from the Santa Ynez Mountains to flow down creeks and valleys into Montecito. Highways in the area and local debris basins were clogged with tons of debris, vegetation, and other large rocks. Highway 101, which runs through Montecito and is the main means of travel between Ventura and Santa Barbara, was shut down for more than 12 days. Caltrans contacted granite construction crews who worked around the clock to clear more than 750,000 cubic yards of debris from the highway, while keeping an eye out for lost animals and other sensitive materials. As they undertook this cleanup operation, Caltrans and other agencies were faced with a massive challenge: what to do with all this mud. Granite's environmental team reached out to the local Santa Barbara County Planning Division and the Regional Water Quality Control Board to propose that the debris that flowed down the roads to Highway 101 and into the local debris catchment basins be brought to the company's Gardner facility in Buellton, California, about 35 miles north of the affected area. A health risk assessment was prepared by a third-party consultant and included a plan to test imported material every 100 cubic yards or so, about every 10th truck, for metals, pesticides, and other biological contaminants to verify the cleanliness of the material that we brought in. This testing was done to demonstrate to the satisfaction of the agencies and to our satisfaction that the imported soil did not contain anything that would contaminate groundwater or nearby water sources. In total, we brought about 250,000 cubic yards of soil from highways 154, 150, and 101. We brought those from near Montecito to our Gardner facility in Buellton, California, to backfill formerly mined out pits and satisfy the requirements of the site's land use reclamation plan. That facility is going to be returned to agricultural uses, and this was a win in both directions, both to clean up the debris from the highway and to help satisfy our reclamation obligations. These are examples of the problem-solving mindset that the Granite team brings to work every day. Our construction crews are willing to mobilize immediately to support response to critical infrastructure failures or other emergency situations, and we're not afraid to stay involved in the long-term solutions. It's a privilege to maintain the same roads that you helped build. Granite construction has helped build the state of California for the last 100 years, and we'll keep doing it. So if you sit in traffic because of green trucks, please trust that we're doing our best work for the public. Granite is a multi-generational company. As I was putting together this presentation, people were proud to share stories of solutions that they had been a part of and had many more examples of times when we mobilized to support emergency services than I could share with you today. Our work would not be possible without high quality, locally sourced aggregate materials. If we can't find the rock to maintain our roads, we quickly will have no roads to speak of. Conservation and responsible use are necessary for operation. Not only do we need to try to do more with less, but we need to protect our high quality mineral resources for future generations of Californians. The construction and industrial materials industry are essential to everything that supports our economy. Roads, streets, bridges, cars, planes, water, conveyance and storage, power system, and to repair damage from storms, earthquakes, and fires. If you use it, we are in it. I'd like to compliment the Department of Conservation for being accessible to Californians through their website, hybrid public meetings such as this, and training opportunities such as the virtual mine inspection workshops. We hope that the board, the State Geologist's Office, and the Office of Mines and Reclamation continue to partner with industry in service of the public good. I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. Thank you, board members, for your attention.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Amelia? Well, thank you for the reminder that aggregate can be used for more than just building the natural resources building. And we'll move on. Thank you.